What's good, y'all? My name is Lucas Lyons, and we got a few things to talk about. Welcome back, Racial Puberty 14. We out here. It's been a year since Racial Puberty 13 came out, but we got to get it back started up again. I'm going to give y'all a quick update. It's been a long time. Things have changed, but the ADOS message is here to stay. Reparations, yesterday reparations, today reparations, forever. And the message has to be here, has to get. It's here. It's here to stay. It has to spread. Action has to be put to it. And I'm trying to do my part as part of the new black media to make sure ADOS is awake. We're ready. We're steady. As Christ says, as Jesus says, we're ready for this. We got the spiritual armor on. We're ready for the spiritual warfare because I know we see the physical warfare of the flesh going on right now. I know we see that outside every single day. Especially, let me back up real quick. Let me give you a quick update where I've been. So it's been a year since Racial Puberty 13. My last video. It's good to see you. I've been busy. That's what it's been. I've been busy. I'm opening a brand new school. Our first founding year was sixth graders. I work for a charter network here in the Bronx, and we had a fantastic first year. And I'm so grateful for our families, our staff, and our kids. We had a really great first year. And, that takes a lot out of you. That takes a lot out of you physically and spiritually. And so I'm glad that I can get back to Racial Puberty right now. And I want to get to a place where I can sustain not only running a school as the dean, but also doing the work that I need to keep my sanity, doing the work I need for my people, doing the work I need for me. You know what I mean? And so this, again, helps me get my mind right, get my mind to a place where I have conversations with other ADOS people, with other black people, with other people. I am in a place where I can fully advocate for myself in ADOS. And we got to, again, part of the new black media, we got to spread that message. So that's where I've been, I won't say relaxing, but I can't complain really. Safe, healthy, amen. Staying physically active, staying spiritually active. You got to do that. And that's the biggest update. That's the biggest update here. And we're gonna jump into it because we didn't talk too much about geopolitics before I went on that hiatus. But ADOS, we gotta be ready. We talk about spiritual awake, having the armor on, being awake, being like the on the watchtower, being able to see, having clear sight about what's going on. Do you see what's going on? I know we've been seeing what's going on, but we really need to be prepared at this moment in time. And I don't want to make it sound gloom and doom or apocalyptic, but Christ talked about this. This has already been spoken about for such a long time, and you got to see what's going on. World War III right now, the way the West and the East are talking to each other, Russia and the US, the global superpowers that have been vying for power, there was a PSA for a nuclear attack in New York City yesterday. It's July 11th? Are we going to be in an age in which our students, our children at schools, we're going to have nuclear drills along with these shooting drills? Oh, I ain't got time to talk about that. I try to keep my video short. I ain't talking about that just yet. I just wanted to get the fire started right now. But we had to have a New York City PSA on nuclear attacks. I mean, if there's a nuclear attack, I don't know what this PSA exactly is going to do for us, but this shows sort of the severity about what's really happening, because there's this fervor in America about Ukraine and Russia and what needs and what needs not to happen. And I'm glad I have this chance because I'm talking to ADOS here is my audience. And we talk about being galvanized and taking action and voting. Shout out to Joey T, because Joey T, I don't know how I found his YouTube page. Got a really great YouTube page talking about black ADOS issues as well. Shout out to Joey T. Check it in the link in the description below. But he got me back on my YouTube game too, because again, part of that new black media, the NBM, that new black media, he would really Anyway, shout out to Joey T. Go take a look at his channel. We really have to pay attention to what's happening globally as a population right now, being 13-14% of the population. We really got to pay attention about what's happening as ADOS and how this affects us. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. talked about the move from civil rights to human rights. And we are living in a globalized society. And we have to continue, as much as hopeless as it seems, to have that moral insight in which it seems like others can't see around us. There seems to be this fervor in America right now for Ukraine, which it completely unhealthy. Noam Chomsky has this really great interview, and I refer to Noam Chomsky because he's one of the most prolific writers the world has ever seen. And he writes a lot about international affairs. He has a very holistic insight on what's going on around the world. And he has this really great interview on The Intercept, and I highly recommend you take some time to watch it. That's another thing. Black people should get YouTube Red or YouTube Premium. I think it used to be called YouTube Red, YouTube Premium, so that you can, listen to the new Black media on YouTube while you're doing about your business. Because if you lock your phone, any different situation. Anyway, back to Noam Chomsky. Simply speaking, these global powers, China, Russia, well, China too, Russia and America, have been at a stalemate for the last 50, 60, 70, arguably 80 years. And imagine if, as Noam Chomsky, again, I think he puts it in the most succinct way, imagine if Russia was trying to arm Mexico. That's essentially what the United States is doing with Ukraine and all along the Russian border. And that's why you see a lot of these third world, quote unquote, countries, these people of color countries, these countries that are not, that have seen America for what it is, that has seen the wolf in sheep's clothing that is American foreign policy. And they're like, so what? That's why it's not happening as quickly as people are thinking. And that's why there have been so many deaths. And Noam Chomsky is saying, yes, Ukraine has a moral righteous indignation, one would call it, to protect their homeland. And people are going to die, and Ukraine is going to lose this war. Nuclear holocaust is very much of a real thing. I mean, I'm not sure what is. I see you. Vladimir Putin is saying, I dare you. Do you, ADOS, do you see what's happening? Black people, do you see what's happening in this country? Do you see what's happening in the world? They're saying, I dare you, right? And so don't get caught up in this blue, yellow flag of Ukraine. Yes, it's sad what's happening over there. But it happens and that's what I'm saying. It happens all over the world when America wants what America wants. And America has been bullying its way, and it's chickens coming home to roost, as Malcolm X would say. It's chickens coming home to roost. And again, ADOS, we got to pay attention to it because this, again, check the links in the description. A recent study came out 2 years ago. And I do think it's interesting. I want to pay note to the title here: Cost of Racism, U.S. Economy Lost $16 trillion. The U.S. brain we're not built to visualize what a trillion looks like. Dollars because of discrimination, bank says. Right? It's a Citigroup study. And I find it interesting up here. They don't say anything about who the discrimination is against, even though you know where your mind goes. But nowadays, soaked in wokeism, people think just people of color. Yes, indeed, of course. And we talking about who? We talking about ADOS here. Right? We know the numbers. We know the data. We're talking about ADOS here. 16 trillion, that's about $1 trillion a year since the year 2000. And yeah, that's $1 trillion that could be used towards, I mean, again, this joke about COVID wouldn't exist if racism didn't exist, because ADOS, we wouldn't be in such a place that resources would be used to not only try to oppress us, but we could also we also are contributing, and we can contribute even more so if we didn't have trillions of dollars working against us, resources working against us each and every day. But that's the flesh right there. And there's that spirit. We got to continue to stand up. I know it can seem hopeless sometimes, and that's why we got to have the new Black media to really bring this type of information to. I just had a I just had a friend try to tell me that it's capitalism that's the issue, that we're seeing that he has a loss of faith in leadership in the country because of capitalism. Capitalism has never been tried in this country. Look, now tell me a time true capitalism, a free open market, has truly been utilized in this country. Come on now. But imagine if it did. Imagine if it was. Imagine if it was. So we have to be so aware of what's going on at this point in time. And I also think it's interesting, and there's a Pew Research Center study came out last year talking about how Blacks, we are losing our faith. Even though we are the most religious group of people in the country, we're losing our faith. Most Black adults say they rely on prayer to help make major decisions and view opposing racism as essential to their religious faith. Look at the history. Look at the history, right? Look at the history of Black people and faith. Look at the history of Black people and Jesus. Look at the history, right? It's all there. It's all black and white. However, as what we're starting to see, that spiritual warfare going on right now, let me say it again, Black millennials, members of Generation Z, are less likely to rely on prayer, less likely to have grown up in Black churches, and less likely to have say religion is an important part of their lives. As we're growing up, we're straying further and further away from the light of Jesus, and I was there myself too, and I'm still there, and I'm still trying to pick myself back up, right? I'm still trying to pick myself back up. All I'm asking is that you help me, right? Turn my life around again, as the Winans say. And I'm going to be talking about some of that new gospel I've been listening to. Shout out to the Winans, right? But as we see, we're straying further and further away. And you can see this in America. Someone say Babylon, making that analogy right there of this loss of, I don't even know what to call it, but this law. And religion doesn't necessarily equal morals, but we are, as a world, losing sight. It's not skill, it's not will, it's not skill, it's will. We have enough for everyone. And doesn't God talk about that? Is there not enough for you? Look out. Everyone has enough. But we know what vice is like. You could curse out colonialism, you could curse out imperialism, but you know what you can't curse out? Dollarism. Dollarism will make you lose a little bit of faith right here. All right. Nonetheless, there's a broad consensus among Black Americans of all faiths that predominantly Black churches have played a valuable role in the struggle for racial equitability in U.S. society. Yeah, of course, and that's why I'm glad I reestablished my relationship with Christ recently over the last year. Jesus is King, because, again, looking at the history, how else could we have done it? Sheesh! How else could we have made it out through what we have made it out of? How else could we have gotten here today? Through the power of Jesus. Won't he do it? It might not come when you want it, but it's right on time. Right? And there's this other piece I wanted to go over real quickly. Yeah, so first, younger Black Americans, like younger Americans more generally, are less religious than their elders. Sure, that's a general thing going on to everyone in this country, not just ADOS. Black millennials, about 50%, and members of Generation Z, about 50%, are twice as likely as Black members of the silent generation to say they seldom or never attend religious services or any congregation. And again, I don't get it twisted. One of the things that I've come to realize as I grow my relationship with Jesus is that you are the church. Don't get it twisted thinking you got to go somewhere or perform or put on some act to show that you are quote unquote religious, right? You are the church. And I think this skews the data a little bit because people feel like, because what does Kanye say? Because I want to talk to God, but I'm afraid because we ain't spoken so long. And I know I felt that. Even after I'm reestablishing, like, Jesus, I'm all about God, I'm afraid because we ain't spoken so long. Lucy, the devil works so quick to try to make you feel like you can't come back, right? And it's not just ADOS. We're seeing this around the clock. World War III, we've seen a spiritual and a physical warfare now, right? And then the last part here, Black Americans are more religious than U.S. public overall. We knew that, though, right? And we're gonna be talking about that and trying to think about why that is. Where is this coming from, right? We talked at the top of the hour. Is Christianity, is following Jesus a white man's religion? Let's do the research, y'all. Let's do the research together. We're gonna talk about it, because only Jesus can save us. Only Jesus could save us. That's also a Ye quote right there. Only Jesus could save us. And I bring this up here to show there is a spiritual decay. There's something going on, and we have to be fortified at this point in time. I mean, we've been fortified. We've been sturdy. ADOS, we've been sturdy. Don't get it twisted. We've been sturdy, and now is more important than ever to continue to be sturdy, right? So let me just make sure that's actually, I got my notes right here. We'll just make sure that's all right. That's just about what I wanted to get to. The video getting back started, just building that momentum. ADOS, check the links in the description below. Shout out to Yvette Carnell, ToneTalks, and shout out to Joey T too, who talks about ADOS. And the highest form of maturity is self-critique. And he talks about ADOS and he critiques it in such a way that I had to subscribe. I have to give a shout out to Joey T. And so, again, ADOS. Let's get political. Let's get. We got some elections coming up. Let's be active. We've been active. Let's continue to be active. ADOS, reparations, the sun, the parable of the sun. Don't forget about that coming out, and just being awake and aware. I see you. You see me. Nothing but love, always and forever. Glad to be back. Racial Puberty 14. I hope I did it. And until next time.